Hello folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. I suppose, at least if you're a Christian, there's no finer day for a miracle to occur than on a Sunday, and today happens to be a Sunday. And the miracle is that I find myself in complete and total agreement with none other than Spencer Brown. Now, Spencer Brown is a chap that I find myself more often than not disagreeing with. But on this occasion, he and I are like two peas in a pod. He was being interviewed in Riyadh, of course, where all the great and good have gathered for the last crescendo, and all the respective media outlets, at least those with access, are there, asking now the post-fight interview questions. What did you all think of the greatest card the world's ever seen, and other such questions. Well, Spencer Brown, who was talking about Joseph Parker, and he was being asked by the interview, that Dubois and Usyk, which of course should properly be referred to as Usyk Dubois, too, what do you think of that? And Spencer Brown said, why Dubois Usyk? Why don't they let him, i.e. Joseph Parker, step up and fight? He then said, I think it's wrong. I don't like it. And of course, he then qualified himself by saying, well, I don't pay the money. I'm sure that Joe will get a fight. He didn't exactly walk it back, but he made it clear that it's not his call to make. But nevertheless, I was very pleasantly surprised that for a brief moment in time, somebody broke from the narrative, and the narrative is that Dubois is going to go and fight Usyk, it's to right a wrong. It'll satisfy the UK fans who say he was robbed, which of course for most of us who are not, wrapping ourselves in the flag of patriotism, we say, well, that wasn't the ref's call. But anyhow, and so I was like, whoa, I'm going to have to sort of hit rewind a little bit to make sure that I'd heard him properly. Because I personally, my opinion will be different to yours. My opinion may be the same as yours. But, this channel is a place where if you have an opinion that's entirely contrary to mine, so long as you write in some moderately polite version of the English language, yeah, fine. That's good, right? But it's my opinion that Dubois doesn't deserve a rematch with Usyk. I mean, yes, I understand he has the belt that Usyk was forced to vacate. Usyk then voluntarily vacated it and held it out to Dubois and Joshua, he said, as a present. But of course it was awarded to Dubois, and then Dubois confirmed it by fighting with AJ. So I understand that there's a lot of push to have an undisputed fight, but in my view, that there are now more meaningful fights for Usyk to have. Because as a fan, I've seen Usyk beat Dubois. I do not buy the controversy, as I have said before. Regardless of whether or not the blow was low, once the fight resumed, Usyk did not behave in a way that I think somebody who was there to rip the championship belts from the champion should have behaved. From Jack Dempsey through to Foreman, there isn't a fighter I can imagine who would have been so pusillanimous about restarting the fight with Usyk. You can just imagine, having a wounded animal in front of you, what a Foreman, a Frazier, an Ali, a Ron Lyle, a Norton, a Dempsey, a Marciano, a Liston, the list simply goes on and on and on and on, would have done. Well, Dubois didn't. And then Dubois, on the receiving end of a jab that no doubt hurt, I'm not suggesting it didn't hurt, chose to run out the count. To me, that is not worthy of a rematch. Usyk shouldn't have to beat every British fighter twice. Usyk should now be fighting somebody new and fresh to our eyes. So two pretty obvious candidates come to mind. Joseph Parker, who is now coming off wins over Wilder, Zhang and Bacoli. I understand the argument about Bacoli not being, in match fit. I've made the argument myself. But nevertheless, he ought to be given an opportunity to fight for the world title. If you decided for whatever reason that Parker wasn't worthy of tackling Usyk for most of the belts, nearly knocked my desk over, then you would say, well, Parker certainly would deserve a shot against Dubois, who he was supposed to fight prior to Dubois' as yet undisclosed ailment, which forced, of course, Dubois to withdraw from the fight. In which case, if you said, oh, well, you know what, I don't think Parker really should, but you couldn't possibly say that he wouldn't then have a chance against, or an opportunity, against Dubois. Because you might say, well, Caballel deserves a chance against Usyk. Personally, I don't really care. I think there's a slightly better case to be made for Parker than there is for Caballel. But hey, I can go either way. I would like to see Parker and Caballel have an opportunity to fight for a world title. And if you were to say to me, well, Bob, Caballel is far more deserving, so it should be Caballel against Usyk and Parker against Dubois, hey, I'm happy. I have no issue with that. There are diehard fans of Parker who would say, well, that's not fair. But I'm not a diehard fan. I'm a neutral. I just want to see good fights with top contenders fighting for titles. If I was to sort of, if Turki Al-Sheikh phoned me and said, hey, Bob, which would you prefer? I would actually prefer Parker against Usyk and Caballel against Dubois. But hey, I can go either way on this, right? But the point is that Parker and Caballel should be given a chance. We've seen enough of Dubois in with Usyk to say, you know what, I don't really want to see it again. We've seen AJ go in twice with Usyk. We've seen Fury go in twice with Usyk. Let Usyk add another scalp, if you like, to his resume. He's only got a couple of fights left. It's not a guarantee that he would beat Parker. It's not a guarantee he would beat Caballel. There's no guarantees in heavyweight boxing. I personally would put Usyk as a favourite against either of those fighters. I put Usyk as a favourite against Dubois. But of course, Father Time remains undefeated. Usyk could get beaten. He could get old overnight. There's lots and lots and lots of different things. But, I've seen the Dubois-Usyk movie. I don't want to watch it again. I'd like to see a fresh movie. And that's Parker, Usyk, Caballel, Usyk. Or even somebody else, like a rando, if you really, really wanted to. If Usyk said, you know what, I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Yes, I know he's not, but I'm calling him because he gave his belt away. If he said, hey, you know what, I'd like to do a boon for the division. I'll take Moser Tama, or I'll take Fabio Wardley. You know what, I wouldn't think that they were great choices, because I think there's more deserving candidates. But the point is, it would be a fresh body. I want to see somebody fresh with Usyk before Usyk retires. We don't have long. We've got 2 fights. If he changes his mind, what would that be? 3? Would it be 4? The point is, the man is close to retirement. Let's see him demonstrate his skills against a different fighter with a different skill set. I wish Usyk was younger. I wish Usyk was, 33. So we could say, oh, this would be good. We can see him against Parker, Parker, Caballel, Fabio Wardley, Itama, Bacoli, or whatever, all sorts of names. But we can't. We're going to see Usyk fight 2 more times. I believe him to be a person who, when he says something, he kind of means it. And so let's see him against somebody fresh. That's this guy's opinion. As I said at the outset, your opinion might change. Your opinion might be different. And that's great. You know, we're all entitled to opinions. The biggest shock for me is I found myself in Spencer Brown like, wow, I'm agreeing with this guy. That's never really happened before. Maybe I should go and buy a lottery ticket today. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you've gotten this far, please like, please share, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.